Hey everyone, so my name is Lily and I'm the book blogger behind Utopia State of Mind, and my face is naked. I'm going to be doing a book look for The Poet X right here. This, I'm inspired by like this particular corner. So this is the first you're going to see of my big face, and then, I'm going to zoom you in for the eyeshadow and we'll zoom back out for the makeup. So I hope you enjoy. This is like, this is only the second one I've ever filmed, but I hope that I will just gradually start to get a little bit better at filming this. I now have a beautiful light gifted for my birthday from my friend, so that's why the lighting looks a little bit different now, and let's just get into this. Alright, so you're a little bit closer and you can see how red my eyes are, so that's really great. Also, it's funny because my ring light is like not directly in front of the camera, so you can see that little ring, but it's like not directly in my lens. We're just gonna go with it. It's a work in progress. I'm just gonna prime my eyes. I'm using the Urban Decay eyeshadow primer. By the way, I'm not exactly sure what look I want to do. I know kind of the rough colors, but I want it to be super, super warm. So I brought over like some blush, and I brought over some lipstick options that are also really warm because the cover is warm, and as you saw earlier, I was wearing like a warm orange shirt. So yeah. I really loved The Poet X. I read it as an ARC like a really long time ago, and I love it so much. It's one of my favorite, it was like one of the first novels I'd read in a really long time that was verse, or written in verse. So I just really, it has like a nostalgic place in my heart because of that. Also, I forgot to bring a mirror over, so I'm just using my camera as a mirror. I'm just setting my eyeshadow with, my eyeshadow primer with like a shade that's just a smidge lighter than my skin color, because I know I'm going to be putting on bright colors. So I just want to, I want to brush with a little bit more stability. This is me planning ahead. By the way, the shade I'm using is from the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop palette. It's shade My Precious. The other one was too dense. I'm back to this fluffier brush. I was thinking I had done this look a really long time ago for, I don't remember which, I think Such a Fun Age. That was more like a watercolor type look. I think I want to do that with a couple different colors. So we'll see how this goes. Blending, blending, blending. Okay, yeah. So see how this goes. I'm gonna take a different brush and I'm gonna go in with the Kathleen Lights and ColourPop palette in the shade Your Gem. It's just like this nice, I'll show it to you. It's just here, this nice like toasted peachy color. I'm gonna put that on the inner corner of the eye. So this is where I'm gonna start one of the first kind of water-y parts of the look. So the point of this is to like blend it, but blend it out a lot. So actually I'm gonna get a mirror, and the only other mirror I have is from a different eyeshadow palette. So, excuse the fact that I'm like all over the place. Basically, what I want is a diffused kind of color. So I'm just taking very, very light layers of shadow and really blending it out to be kind of watercolor-esque. Because the cover, I don't know if you saw, it has like pops of colors in that corner, but on her face there are pops of color, but like they're more diffused. They're more diffused. And that's kind of the look I want to go for. I want it to be almost like you put watercolors onto my eyes. Every time I'm like, oh, I have my setup down, and I was like, well, it would be nice if there was a mirror, like right here. I saw you can attach a mirror to the ring light, but I don't have like one of those attachments. So for breast padding purposes, what I want to do is I want to put like a color here and then a color here as well. And maybe if I can swing it like one right there, just to fully like get the experience of that cover. So that was kind of like my light orangey color. I'm thinking I want to do a pink. And I want to do like a yellowy color and then maybe a darker purple, basically. It's gonna be a super colorful look. I'm gonna look for a really great pink because I want it's kind of on the cover washed out, almost kind of cool toned pink. So I'm gonna go in to the Mirage palette from Profusion. I'm going to be taking this pink color, but it's gonna be super diffused. So happy that I brought a mirror only in a giant palette form from my Lorac Pro palette. So great, just love that for me. Also, I'm very lazy, and the tripod is just a smidge. I can show you if I was sitting up straight. It's just a smidge too short for the close-up. So I am just, you know, hunching down a little bit. So it's interesting, normally when I do bright colored looks, all the colors pop a lot. But here, I want them to be very, almost, not washed out. I feel like washed out is not really the word I'm looking for. But I mean, it is kind of the vibe. So I'm laying down the color and then just blending it up. This is really just going like from the middle of my eye to the outer corner. But if you do recreate the looks, which I don't know if anyone actually recreates any of the looks I've ever done, but if you did, tag me because that would be really, really cool. This look is definitely all about blending. So I think what I'm gonna do, tapping off the excess, is bring the pink just a smidge higher. I'm kind of placing the color where I want it to go, and then I'm gonna blend it out. I need to get a little bit of color right at the corner of my lashes. I'm not gonna do winged, I don't think I'm gonna do winged eyeliner, just because I really want to keep the attention of the eye look on the actual shadows. I find that sometimes winged eyeliner can take away from that impact. So we've really brought the pink up. I'm trying to like bring it out a little bit more. But the purple is gonna go there. So now I'm gonna find a warm yellow. It's not in the Mirage palette. I couldn't, of course, pick one where like all the colors are in one. No, I have to pick one where like every single color is in a different one. I think I'm gonna go in the ColourPop, what is it called? Yes Please palette. It's this yellow. It's gonna go in and place it here. My mirror, I put my mirror down, so that's why I'm like placing the bright color, and then I'm going and picking my mirror back up. I'm just blending this. I don't want the yellow to appear too washed out, but I really love the look so far it's giving me. Everything looks very watercolor-esque. It's a little bit tricky because the pink is a little bit cooler, and then we're going to be putting kind of a cooler toned color right here, essentially. So that's why I don't need to blend too much. If I wanted to, what I think I might do is like darken up the orange a little bit. In the palette that I was using, the So Jaded ColourPop palette, there is like a deeper color. It's called Carnelian. That one. So I think I'm gonna go in just with like a smidge to kind of just deepen up that color, just because I feel like it's looking a little bit washed out in comparison. And I want to bring back some of the orange color, because I think it's leaning a little too peachy, and yeah, I want it to be like an orange, while also not being like a primary color orange. Yeah, so far I really like that. I'm gonna take my brush and just put a little bit more yellow right here, because I don't think that, like, I really love the placement of the yellow on that eye, but I feel like this yellow needs to be brought down a little bit. And of course, what I can do is, like, later on I can go over all the colors, but now I'm gonna try the purple and see what it looks like. So the purple actually is also gonna be from the Mirage palette, or let me see. It's either the Mirage, I'm sorry that of so much background noise. It's either the Mirage palette or, no, sorry. To make everything all a different palette, that's what I'm gonna do. So this is from the Juvia's Place palette, and it's in the shade Makeda. It's this purple. Just because this is a little bit shimmery, I wish it was kind of more matte. But the purple on the cover, let me just pick it up. Like, the purple right on her head is like very dark purple. And the other one was dark, but it was more like of a warm toned purple. So just going in, I'm gonna place it here. But remember, this is supposed to be very, very diffused. So as you can tell, that's very bright. Juvia's Place palettes are like really, really pigmented. So I'm gonna have to blend that out a lot, but I'm gonna just quickly take whatever is left over and put it on the left eye. And then go back in when the brush has a little bit less pigment on it and blend it out. So as you can see, now that that's blended out a lot more, it looks a lot better. It's still a little bit tricky because it's next to that really warm yellow, but in general I do feel like purple and yellow like don't look too bad together. So as far as the blending motions you can see on my brush, I'm trying to keep the color really centered around where I want the color, and just basically go from where I want the color and like sweep it where I'm trying to blend it. And now I'm just making sure the edges are really washed. Really washed. They're really washed. Now I'm trying to make sure the edges are very feathery, very diffused. Diffuse is clearly the ending word for... Not the ending word. Diffuse is clearly the key word for this look. Okay, I'm really happy with that. I'm gonna actually go in a little bit more with the pink, and the yellow looks really good actually. Like, this eye specifically is my favorite. I love when I'm doing an eye look and then, I'm using a variety of different shades, and also like the blending methods and stuff, they just feel so different on each eye, and often whatever I start with is actually the eye that I don't like sometimes, because I have a better sense of what I want from when I do it again the second time on the other eye. But today, first eye's treating me good. So I just wanted to increase the pigmentation on the pink. And as you can see, I'm using the same brush. So the fact that the pink's still staying pretty pink is a testament to the fact that I'm putting barely a lot, like barely any shadow on the brush, and really blending it out in very small layers. I feel really good about that. I'm just gonna go around the edge of the pink to give that a little bit more blending. I mean, in general, I'm pretty happy with both eyes, but let's move on. So, okay, first of all, I'm gonna put my palettes to the side. Everyone needs their little, like, protective covers. I don't know how much good these protective covers actually do. We're going to do eyeliner now. So as I said, I'm not going to do winged eyeliner because I want to... Oh, actually, I got to think about what I want to do on the bottom lashes. I think on the bottom lash, I was like, oh, I'm done. I think on the bottom lash, oof, I don't know what I should do. I'm going to do the eyeliner first and then think about the bottom lash. So, the eyeliner, I'm just using like a brown eyeliner. You can use whatever brown eyeliner. I'm trying to get through this Clinique eyeliner, which I got as like a free gift with purchase kind of thing. I'm not laying it down very specific because I'm going to take the little smudger and smudge it out when I'm done. And by the way, I'm putting the eyeliner not really on the top lash, as you can kind of tell maybe. I'm putting it really on the eyelash top, like on the upper lash line essentially. Just taking my smudger and smudging. Yep. I'm just taking my smudger and smudging the eyeshadow out, or the eyeliner, sorry. Like that. The eyeliner I was using was just like a Clinique eyeliner, but you can use any brown eyeliner. So I think we're about done. I'm going to zoom you out so we can look at like the balance of the face and decide what we want to do for under the eye. I might kind of just wait till afterwards to do that. So see you in a second. So we're zoomed out. I still look pretty tired, I guess. We have the eyes done. I'm just looking in my mirror. We have the eyes done, which is really nice. I think it's really sweetly, like, very diffused. That's the word I'm going to use. Okay, so because I want everything to be so diffused, I actually don't think I'm going to do anything on the bottom lashes. Maybe I'll change my mind, but I really want it to be very much like wispy, kind of in the air look, to kind of bring this cover back to what we're doing. So we took the colors here, and you see on her face, they're very diffused, almost watercolor looking. That's what we were trying to emulate. And I don't think I want to do anything on the bottom because I definitely want it to feel very light. What we're going to do now then is we're gonna do the face, and then we'll go back, we'll do mascara, and we'll do eyeliner, and I'm just organizing the table in front of me because often I will forget one of those steps. So I'm just going to go in with a little bit of primer to smooth out my skin. I'm using the Bare Minerals Prime Time Primer. There's a little bit on my cheek area, on my nose area, on my forehead, but basically anywhere. Yeah, just anywhere. No, I feel like on my cheek, it can be very dry, so there can be texture on my cheeks. It's good to fill in the pores of your nose. Sorry, that was my phone. It's good to fill in the pores of your nose. And same with my forehead. I can get like a lot of texture on my forehead, so that's good for there. I like used my hands, and now I also didn't bring a cloth over. Okay. Just wipe them on my makeup sponge. So I'm going to be using the Bare Minerals Complexion Rescue Stick in the shade Wheat 4.5. It's funny, like on my Instagram, if you've been looking at the book looks I've been doing recently. I haven't been wearing any foundation because I've been doing almost a book look a day at home, and that can just be, it was just ending up being like a lot on my face, and my face was not happy with it. So my face was not happy for it. So I'm doing it here for like this book look, but yeah, just so you know. And I'm blending it out with a brush. You could blend it out basically with a sponge, but I like the coverage it gives me with the brush because it really blends everything out and you get like a very natural finish. Sorry, just checking the texture on my skin. So I'm blending this out. Ugh, my face is so dry. Okay, I'm gonna be putting concealer on. I'm only gonna be using the concealer for brightening sake. So I'm going to be using the e.l.f. Hydrating Camo Concealer. I'm using the color, or the shade Light Sand. That's what I use for my like brightening thing. I'm just using it under the eyes, which is basically where I put it, and like a little bit on the nose. I don't put any on like the T, you know, this area, because I just in general have like texture right here. I mean, in general, I think texture is my biggest problem, skin-wise, except I get really red cheeks when my skin is irritated. The water where I'm living is very hard, and that really dries out my skin. So I can get like really red cheeks. And that's kind of how I noticed the skin, not irritation, but that my skin was unhappy with like wearing the foundation all the time basically for the book looks. So I try to avoid, those are kind of the areas where I need the concealer, like on my cheek area. And because of the texture, which is, as I said, one of my other kind of like skin concerns, I just try to put products on my skin that not on those areas, and if I do, like very, very thin. So I've been enjoying blending in my concealer with a brush. I never used to do it. I only used to use a beauty blender, and this is actually just a smidge too big actually. But what I do, or what I should do and didn't do on this side, was I kind of like stipple it where I want it, and then I take the brush and go around the perimeter. I feel like that gives a really nice look. But basically what I'm doing with the concealer is not really necessarily trying to do a lot of highlighting, but it's just trying to make my skin all look like one tone essentially. So now I'm going in with my, where's my highlighter? Oh, here it is. I'm going in with my highlighter. I'm just using the Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Moonstone. Just loading it up here. I find that this highlighter is really good because it doesn't often show the texture on my cheeks because I have a lot of it, but I am blending this in with a sponge. So I'm kind of just taking the sponge and pressing it into the skin. I find that for liquids, fingers work really well, but for this product I really like kind of using the sponge to help diffuse the area of the product. I want to know how many times I say diffuse in this video. So if you've counted, please let me know. I'm tempted to refilm the intro and be like, count how many times I use the word diffuse. But that would expose me too much, I think. I'm going to just take a smidge more concealer on my cheek because I didn't do that stipple thing. Also, I feel like when you let the concealer kind of sit on your skin for a little bit longer than maybe you would normally, it kind of helps up the coverage factor. So let's just do my brows first. And then we'll go back and we'll blend that in. Because the Camo Concealer, I think is really good for, it will kind of settle down a little bit more, but it won't settle down into the matte finish, which is why I use it for my under eyes, because with the texture, the normal Camo Concealer was just drying down in a way that was not flattering at all. Normally I would do kind of a very not tapered, but like a very pointy brow, but because everything is very airy, I'm just gonna do like a very light brow. Barely blend it in. Just make sure there's no lines. Gonna go back in now and blend out that concealer, but more like just stipple it. Yeah, you get so much more coverage if you just stipple it first of all, and then you kind of let it sit on the skin. Yeah, pretty happy with that. For my cheeks, I'm going to use, oh, actually, sorry. What I like to do for days where I want my makeup to last a long time, which of course, like in COVID time when you're wearing a mask, I just generally am not wearing makeup. But if you wanted to know, I like to set the creams with a powder. Because my face can err on the dry side, especially during winter, I'm not setting my whole face with a powder. In the summer, I will set my whole face with a powder, a very light powder. I like to use the Coty Airspun or the Bare Minerals Hydrating Mineral Veil, specifically around my under eye when I'm wearing concealer. But winter time now, I like don't need it. I basically try to avoid powder at all costs. But what I'm doing is I do like to give my cheek products, so my highlighter and my blush, just a little extra oomph. And so I like to set all those cream products with a powder. I'm using the Wet n Wild Mega Glow Highlighting Powder. Do the Cupid bow as well. And I like, after I kind of press it down, to lightly blend out the edges. For my blush, I'm going to be using the Physicians Formula Dewy Blush Elixir in the shade Gorgeous Peach. I like to take just a smidge on the back of my hand, really, like basically as little as you possibly can get. Then I like to kind of flatten it down a little bit. I like to put it on my sponge and press it into my cheek. And this is kind of how I like to get the dewy look. And by pressing it in like this, you're going to minimize the amount of pick up it's gonna have. So basically, if you're gonna set your face, I'm not sure if you should do like the powder of this first, or I have a tiny hair here. I'm not sure like in what step you should do it. Obviously everyone has their own opinions. So basically I first bought the Dewy Blush Elixir. I first bought the shade Apricot Glow, which is so much more pigmented than the Gorgeous Peach. So just know that sometimes you're gonna have to build up the Gorgeous Peach. So I'm just taking another little smidge of it, flattening it out just so that it doesn't like all go in one concentrated section, and just some more on. I do have a blush powder topper that I am going to use, but I just like to have a very dewy cream cheek as a base for a lot of the powder looks I do. So there we go. It's very subtle, but it's super dewy. Like you can tell from the light reflecting off of it, it's very dewy. But I like it. Also, it's not like very dewy, okay? It just looks like your actual skin has like a little bit of a dew up, a glow up. So for the blush, I'm also going to use Wet n Wild. It's a Color Icon blush in Mellow Wine. It's just this like, it's just this wine color. I wanted to keep everything pretty monochromatic, like orangey tone look essentially. So I just like to put some down, and then because I have the powder, the cream underneath, for this one I just really like to stipple and lightly brush. But I also like a very colorful cheek. So, you know, take everything I'm doing with a grain of salt, I guess. But I'm a huge fan of a highlighted, dewy, colorful cheek. You see me like popping my cheeks up essentially, so I make sure that the blush is on those areas. I also really like to bring the blush back. Not all the way to the temple. I'm not doing contour because I want to keep everything very light. But if I was doing contour, contour would be here. So basically I'm bringing the blush here where it would naturally kind of be blended in with the contour. I'm just gonna say dissolve into the contour. Stop saying dissolve and diffuse. Stop saying it. Okay, I'm gonna do one coat of mascara because I'm gonna need to do like 3 essentially for this, for my eyelashes to show off at all. I should curl my lashes. I'm so lazy. Like, I don't want to. I feel like, okay, makeup should be what you want it to be. And I'm not feeling it, essentially. I also feel like I don't need to like zoom you in for mascara because I'm just putting it on my lashes. I'm using the Maybelline Lash Sensational. I just opened this yesterday. I feel like a lot of times when you just open a new mascara formula, it can be very wet. And that the more time you have it open, it can get a little bit drier. And that often that kind of brings out, not brings out the good in the mascara, but like the formula will just be different. So I feel like when you open it, if you don't like the formula, kind of like leave it around for a couple days-ish and then see how you feel about it after, you know, like a couple days, a week or whatever. If it's really not working, like after 2 weeks probably, just, you know, move on. Life is too short to waste it on mascara you don't like. Life is too short to waste it on like makeup you don't like. But that's why I really also like using drugstore mascaras. I don't think I really use that many high-end mascaras at all, just because I wear contact lenses and I am very prone to sometimes getting eye infections. And so when it is, like, I gotta throw it out. Because if the eye infection is on your eyeliners or your mascara wand, for example, because it touches your eye, then you don't want to like bring that infection back. So I'm very conscientious about making sure that my eye mascaras are being like cycled through. Okay, I don't have like tons of eyeliner, so I'm not very conscious about that in the eyeliner front. But okay, for lips, I brought 4 combinations. So one is Freckle Fiesta, and that's super orange. I don't know if I'm gonna do the super orange one because, yeah. Also, it's matte, and I kind of want a glossier lip. So then I have this Dynamite Red color, also matte. Also, I don't want to make it like super glam. And then this berry one, which might go well with my shirt. But I think I'm gonna go with this shade, NYX Slip Tease Lip Lacquer in the shade Dexter, because it's one, I think that is more like the color of my shirt, and I think it will look really good. If you can tell, it's like that kind of warm tone color. The applicator for this is so weird. And it's super goopy. Also not transfer proof. I know that for like lip lacquers and lip glosses, I don't think people really expect them to be transfer proof, but you know. I think that color is just so juicy. It's because the formula is super, I would say the formula is thicker than I would expect, because it is kind of like, if you think about a lacquer, like a paint lacquer, that's kind of it. Like you feel, it feels definitely thick. You can feel there's something on the lips, but it's very high shine, as I said, not transfer proof. So just know that. But I love this color. This is also like the only one I have from this formula, but I love the color so much. Because it's like a warm, orangey, reddish color. So now I'm just gonna do my second coat of mascara. I don't have the energy to do 3. I love how the when I filmed one of my most anticipated looks, like for myself, I end up being like super lazy. So there we go. I think I got some mascara on my contact lens. That's kind of just what, you know, it's behind the scenes of things you never see when you see like the finished product. But yeah. So thank you for coming along for the ride. I hope you enjoyed the look. As I think this look would also look good with like a really warm peach color on the lips or nude. I just really wanted to do this and also kind of like match my shirt a little bit, but also bring in a little bit of the dark colors on the cover, you know, like these cover colors essentially, and kind of push them all together, but it's still like very dark. So yeah, I hope you enjoy. Definitely check out the Poet X. It's so emotional. There are so many highs and lows. Also look at like all the medals on this book. I'm certainly not alone in loving this book. I also think that the audiobook is read by Elizabeth Acevedo, so definitely check that out. I've been loving listening to audiobooks, specifically for certain narrators, and I love when the author reads the book themselves. So definitely check this out, and I hope that you enjoyed this makeup look.